Salutations!
Welcome to the Filmmakers podcast, where the popcorn is our ammunition, the couch is our foxhole, and the cinema is our place of worship.
Now let me see your war face. Ah!
Where I work, they made a bunch of errors in the last quarter or two. So I've been cleaning things up. So the reports that I have to have filed by Wednesday, a couple of them, I was like, hit some snafus in this that I did not intend. And now this is taking me extra longer. So
Classic.
just time I did not account for. Classic me.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Filmmakers podcast.
Hello,
I'm Zach.
I am Mick.
I'm late.
But she's here.
It's Alexis.
Alexis is here in the fucking flesh. Oh boy, it's been far too long since the Filmmakers were all in the same room, and Mick's already walked away to turn off our fan. What a gentleman.
What is that sound?
Yep.
Oh, yay. I'm so excited
God.
to sweat in this apartment once more.
It's so nice to all be getting damp together.
I know.
Damn, daddies.
I'm so excited.
I
I
haven't
can't
been
wait.
wet.
Fox 7, lock and load.
I'm so done with you already. Take me home.
That was
Take me
Mick's
home.
latest artistic endeavor.
To the page. West Virginia.
Oh, good. Let's keep going.
What's going on?
Fuck
you. Fuck off. Oh, son of a bitch. Well,
God damn it, you did get it.
let's jump right into movies, since that's what this podcast is nominally about.
Sure.
Mostly.
It's like, it's at least
Have I seen
60,
movies?
50% about movies.
Yeah.
Well, I went to the cinemas last night, and I saw my first new release. But I didn't go to just any old AMC cinema. I had my first experience going to a drive-in. I went to a drive-in theater down in Paramount, California, sat in the back of my girlfriend's car, and we watched the new Mean Girls film, Mean Girls the Musical.
Fun.
No.
It's terrible.
Oh, believe me, I've heard. Have
you seen it?
I've seen the rhetoric on TikTok.
Oh, man.
So
On the TikTok.
on the TikTok, yeah. Well, everybody's comparing Sabrina Carpenter, who did an actual part of the Broadway run, versus the girl that they got to do Katie Heron in the movie.
Wait, who?
I love
who's that?
Angourie Rice. I love Angourie Rice. She's a phenomenal actress. She's great in one of my favorite films of the 2010s, The Nice Guys.
Right.
You know,
She is not a singer.
yeah. I'm like, I've heard the difference between Sabrina Carpenter and her, and there's just no
So,
personality.
It's important
It's
to note
tough.
that the director is her mother.
Yeah.
Oh no!
So,
Yeah. And
it's,
you just listen. More good roles for Angourie Rice, but yeah,
Not this
she's okay. But I will say, going to a drive-in, very fun. Would
That's
love to
cool.
do it again.
Nice.
I'd
did
love
it
to
all
see
the time.
like an older movie there. I kind of want to see The Blob there. I feel
You
like
would.
that is a perfect drive-in movie. And yes, I would like to see The Blob anywhere. I fucking love
Have
The
you
Blob.
seen The Blob?
I've not seen The Blob, but
Oh,
it's
man.
such a Zach choice.
Yeah,
Seeing The Blob at the Beverly Cinema was fantastic.
yeah, I'm sure
It
The
was
Blob
so good.
fucking rocks.
Yeah.
But I will say that, like, that movie is horrendously sound mixed. I don't know how that shit got released like that. And it's a musical. Like, there are a bunch of scenes where the, like, backing track is quieter than, like, the wild sound and the Foley work. Which is crazy. Like, why am I hearing people's footsteps so clearly, but not the music in this musical? I don't know. I feel similarly about Mean Girls 2024 that I did about last year's The Little Mermaid, where I'm like, why? Why do we have this? We don't need it. The original did the job just fine.
Right.
Yeah, adding songs is not enough to justify its existence, and also the songs are not good. I don't think that the music in this musical, regardless of how well it's performed, is very good.
I also, well, not also, I have not seen it yet, but I saw the trailer, and again, one of my favorite parts of the original is Amy Poehler, and let's do a remake where we shoehorn in bad music, and then we don't have Amy Poehler. That's great.
Yeah.
You're really selling me on it. It doesn't make sense.
I don't
It doesn't
get
make
it.
sense.
I don't get
I
it
mean,
at all.
it's a quick cash grab, but
On the other hand, Renee Rapp, the person who plays Regina George, had an incredible performance on SNL. Did any of you guys see that?
I did
No.
not.
She's so talented.
She has a great voice.
What character?
Regina
Regina
George.
George.
Who is that?
the
The
main
Rachel
blonde.
McAdams character.
I've seen the movie once.
You've only seen Mean Girls once?
Yes.
That's a
Okay.
fucking generational classic.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe twice.
Yeah, that's a great movie.
It is a good movie.
But
But yeah, I don't remember the character names.
yeah, I will say that Renee Rapp is kind of like the one redeeming quality of this movie.
I mean, she did play Regina George on the Broadway
Doesn't
tour, so.
fucking touch Rachel McAdams, nowhere close. But like,
I've been
she-
enjoying a lot of the dialogue on like how they really missed the mark with the fashion in the movie too.
yeah, I can see that. It's I don't want to dwell on it too much, but I would not recommend that you see it because it's not very good.
Yeah, I'll probably see it anyways.
I was gonna say, are you gonna watch it?
Well, it's a musical.
Yeah.
Is it though?
I mean, not a good one. I will say if you're a fan of musicals, you can still skip it. The dances, the choreography in this movie looks
You
like
said
it was
it said, like, TikTok,
Yeah,
right?
it looks like it was designed for TikTok. Like it's
Which again, I bet you was what they were going for.
Probably.
Like, let's make this a TikTok thing.
it's like
Yeah, but in order for something to be viral on TikTok, it has to be good.
That's not
I don't
true.
agree with
That's
that
not
remotely.
even
I don't agree
remotely
with that
true.
fucking remotely.
That's even the algorithm's like, I don't know about that, Alexis. I don't know.
Ugh, God. Well,
I mean,
Mean
if it's
Girls.
specifically marketed to be viral, then it has to be one step up from, like if you're marketing it as something that should be going viral, it needs to at least have some talent behind it.
Maybe. I
don't know.
guess I think my biggest thing is that it doesn't take advantage of being a movie or a musical, really.
Yeah.
Like
Are you saying it's lazy?
it feels fucking slapdash as hell. Yeah, like the
Okay, I thought we
Slapdash.
weren't dwelling on this.
You're right.
We need
I
to
will
move
just
on.
say, if you're a movie musical, you can take advantage of being a movie by like changing locations or having bigger musical numbers. And all of the musical numbers in this movie basically are just like in a fucking room. No good. Bad choreography, bad movie, bad you. What else?
Feel bad.
So, I'll go really quick. I saw nothing in between the time we recorded last, so you all can wrap over what's going on.
Okay, but what's going on with your life?
Yeah.
'Cause that's part of what this is.
Oh, I mean, like, the play's been really cool. We've been getting, like, standing ovations, like, almost every night.
Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Fantastic. If I don't say
Yeah,
so
yeah.
myself.
Seeing some
No.
photos from
I
the
mean-
show.
Fantastic.
All right.
Oh, my God.
You're
thank
making
you.
me uncomfortable.
You know,
No, though, you look
honestly,
great, though.
Yeah, my sister even went to go see it, and she's really not like a play person, but she really enjoyed it. It's been a really fun play.
That
So
picture you posted on your social media, that's like you enticing your man, right? Is that your husband or lover?
It's my about to be fiance.
After
Mozart.
what happens.
And basically, I come on the stage and I'm being chased. I'm squeaking like a mouse. I crawl under the table and he crawls after me and he's like, meow. And then I crawl onto the table and I don't know, we're kind of having like a little chase scene.
Does
And then
he ever go-
and then he teases me by saying that I'm going to shit myself.
Does he ever go, wait, really?
That
Yeah.
sounds like something
wow.
you
No.
would say
I need to see that
either
movie.
of us.
I really need to see Amadeus.
My favorite line right in that scene towards the very end is, "Oh, what a melancholy note. Something's dropping from your boat." I love it.
Wow.
Yeah, damn.
You really put that into boat,
Okay.
put that in a boat month. Have you seen Amadeus yet, though?
No, I'm waiting until after the production's done to watch the movie.
Cool. Yeah. Same.
Yeah, I want to see that.
Same. I still haven't seen it yet. Is what I'm
Who
trying
knows?
to say.
I mean, I've
I
seen
might
it, but
choose
it's been a
this
long
year
time.
for Period Piece Palooza.
All right. Get it
Okay,
together.
I'm gonna rattle through a couple other movies that I saw real quick, real fucking quick. I saw Alien 3.
What'd you think?
Didn't love it. It's like fine. It's got some redeeming
I got
qualities.
excited when I opened Letterboxd. I thought for a second you had seen Alien Resurrection, and
That's
then I was
next.
disappointed.
That's on the docket.
I can't. When are you watching that?
I have no definitive plans,
Okay, because
but
I would watch that with you.
Yeah, we
'Cause
should
that's-
watch it sometime.
I have this
Dude,
weird
I was
fondness
literally
for
just watching a video on how Sigourney Weaver literally fucking
Sunk the basketball
sunk
shot.
that basketball, and everyone lost it on
That's
set,
amazing.
including Ron Perlman.
That's great.
And then let's see, what else did I watched one movie that I think I will discuss later. I will discuss when we're talking about our film.
Later.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
Oh, you know what? I actually did throw on, because I needed something on in the background, so I threw on Call Me By Your Name.
Oh.
And, you know, there's just something a little more malicious about it.
It makes it better, doesn't it?
I don't know if that's true.
I haven't seen the movie since the allegations came forth.
Yeah, I
but-
hadn't seen it since then, and I was like, you know what? At least it's peaceful, you know.
Is
And
it
since
still-
some of it's in French, I won't be too distracted while I do work, you know.
Is this still a really beautiful film, though?
I mean, yeah, it looks beautiful, it sounds beautiful. I just, you know, every time Aubrey Hammer's around, I'm just like,
It's hammer time.
Oh god.
Speaking of which, I cannot wait for Challengers.
oh, I'm
Yeah.
so fucking
Fuck
excited.
okay. You want to cut a good trailer? That is a good
That's-
fucking
Challengers
trailer.
has a fucking phenomenal trailer.
Oh my god, that's Rihanna, right? That they put in it, or who is that?
Zendaya.
No, not the actress. The music.
Okay, I was like, what are you saying
You're
right
so
now?
racist.
You're racist. I thought you were being racist.
No, I thought you were being racist.
Well,
no, you.
Oh,
Hey, what month is it?
Okay, now you're just being weird.
Boy.
Anyways, Challengers, I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
That's really cool. But
Mick, have
I
you seen
haven't
any
seen
films?
Challengers. I've seen the trailer for Challengers. I have seen a new film. I finally saw American Fiction again. I
Great.
went back to the theaters. I took Sam. She hadn't seen it yet. She really wanted to see it. She had a great time. That movie is still really good.
Yeah, good movie.
Jeffrey Wright's fantastic. I don't know if I loved it as much on a rewatch. I think because, and I think this is a me problem, but when I first saw it, the humor really hit hard, and the kind of the lovey-dovey feel-good stuff hit less hard, and it was kind of reversed on a rewatch,
Interesting.
where the lovey-dovey feel-good stuff was like really felt thick, and I knew all the jokes, so they didn't hit quite as hard. I'm not sure. I didn't enjoy it quite as much on a rewatch, but seeing that in a theater is great because I love watching that movie with other people reacting to it.
Yeah.
It's a really good time.
oh wait, go on.
No, go.
Oh, go on.
No, go.
Somebody go.
Okay,
No, you go.
as a side note, Sundance just happened,
Yes.
and I had so many movies. You know, I followed this guy named Cinema Joe on TikTok. Love him. He's got great content, and I just love all the lists that he puts out after he goes to like different film festivals and stuff. So I actually have an ongoing list that I will share with the two of you. And Zach, you can feel free to
But
share
not
it
the
on.
listeners.
Well, you can feel free to share it on the pod. It's my 2024 movies to see. It's
Oh, yeah, I also have a
ongoing
little
list.
list
I had-
going.
I had a lot of friends that worked on the movie with the guy from The Last of Us. What is his name?
Pedro Pascal?
Pedro Pascal. He did a movie in there where they shot in Oakland. It has like a bunch of stunts in it and stuff. Apparently, it was quite the fucking production
Okay.
to shoot in. Yeah, they were like doing like multiple units in a single stairwell, but they were all synced up with each other. So the scene would start with Unit 1. The
Oh,
scene
wow,
would
that's
continue with
crazy.
Unit 2, and then it would finish with Unit 3 because the fight goes down vertically.
Fuck yeah.
Something like
Guys,
that. I'm
can
really
you-
excited.
Can you believe that the Gladiator sequel, isn't that supposed to come out this year?
Yeah, that's this
Yeah.
year, I think.
And that's with Pedro Pascal also.
Yeah,
and Paul Mescal.
Paul Mescal.
Yeah, and Denzel Washington, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is Russell Crowe in it? Well, he
No.
died, didn't he?
No,
That's a
he
dumb
died.
question.
No, but
Fucking
Joseph Quinn, who plays fucking Eddie on Stranger Things season 4, is also in it. Eee.
Is he the hair rocker?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's cool. That's exciting. I haven't seen why haven't we got a trailer for that yet? I didn't mean it like that. that's actual
See, I'm
mixed,
so-
unfiltered thoughts
I'm
happening.
so glad that we're in person so
Yeah.
that Mick can read what's going on in my face extra well.
Yeah, you know, honestly, this is nice. I don't know if you're enjoying it, listeners, but it's nice being back in the same fucking room together because we're quippier. It's
Yeah, there's a
faster.
rapport. There's a rapport.
There's a
going. There's a
rapport.
vibe.
There is
Also, we're all nude, which is crazy. That's part of it.
not
Yeah.
sexually.
Part
It's
of-
just hot in here.
No, we get naked to get the energy going. You know this now. Alexis, how you doing? You're making a face.
I also saw.
Short circuiting. It's been a while since I've been with the two of you in person.
I've seen two new movies. Like I said, American Fiction, and then I finally saw Rustin, starring Coleman Domingo. Because I wanted to see his performance because he's the only one I haven't seen that's nominated for Best Actor. He's fantastic. Coleman Domingo is. I hate to use the word transcendent, but I'm going to. He is transcendent. He's super good. He carries the weight of the entire film quite confidently. If you're unfamiliar with the story of Rustin, I'm not going to spoil anything, but it takes place during the 1960s civil rights movement. Coleman Domingo plays Bayard Rustin, who was a queer leader of the civil rights movement. And so he's kind of been erased a little. I don't know about erased, but he hasn't been talked about. I've never fucking heard of him.
Yeah.
And he was like, apparently he was the brainchild of the March on Washington.
Oh, wow.
It was like his idea. And I didn't know that. But it was really interesting. The problem that I had with it was very paint by numbers. You've seen this movie before. It was just with a character we haven't seen before.
Inspirational.
It's inspirational, but I just mean it felt a little formulaic. It's just
I mean like a formulaic inspirational movie.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
It is like that. And then also, I found that the ending a little odd because it finishes with a happy, feel-good ending, which is fine. But the problem for me is, as a movie about racial justice, I feel like it kind of undercuts itself a little bit by having a happy ending. I put in my review that it feels like a wrapped gift with a bow for a job well done.
Did he actually have a happy ending?
Yeah.
Then it.
Yeah, but my issue with it is like I feel like having
where they
that
ended the story.
Yeah, it undercuts the movement. I feel like a racial justice film should not have an unhappy ending, but it should have a feeling. It should have like a message about the fight needs to continue.
It should feel more like a call to action at the end.
It doesn't feel like a call to action. It feels like a pat on the back, like, yeah, we did it. But you didn't. You did a damn good job. But I mean, that's partly why I love the ending of BlacKkKlansman. Is because it has a happy ending for the heroes, more or less, but then it ends with a reminder to the comfortable white audience members in the theater that, hey, this movie may have had a happy ending, but you need to understand that the overall narrative is still a struggle.
Yeah.
And I think because it didn't have that, it kind of sabotaged its own message a bit, just to me. I don't know. But overall, I found it really, really engaging. The first and second act in particular, I thought were paced really, really well. In fact, the lead up to the March on Washington felt like a heist film or like a section of a war movie where they were preparing for this big battle. And I loved that. That was really, really cool. And then the ending was iffy for me. But check it out. Coleman Domingo, I can see why he's nominated. He deserves the nomination. Yeah, not bad. Check it out. It's on Netflix.
Wow.
All right. Well, with that, I think we can hop right out of what's going on.
Wow.
And we're back. Good. Keep doing that one more time.
Wow.
It's Owen Wilson as a baby.
Look at him. He's so...
What was that quote of Owen Wilson? What did he say about how he said it was?
That he's crazier than a road lizard?
No, Owen Wilson said that in his opinion that you can't fake a dog death. You have to actually kill it.
Yeah.
That's
Did we
right.
talk about that already before?
We might have.
Not on the pod, I don't think.
Maybe for a reason. We haven't mentioned that.
Well, everyone, we are, as we stated on the last episode, out of 2023 in review month.
Sad to see it go.
We are into Black Cinema Month.
Happy to see it come.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to do this. It's a different month. We're changing it up. Last year we did Romance Month.
Yeah, you can't pin us down.
You can't pin us down.
You can pin me down.
You can
in
try.
particular.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God. Well, audience, you heard it here first.
That's right, folks. QR code in the description below.
Oh my God. So, Mick,
Huh?
what's our first big topic of Black Cinema Month?
Oh. our first big topic of Black Cinema Month. Actually, I think to bring us into the movie that we... Oh, by the way, okay, I'm going to cut myself off here.
Okay.
I need you guys to do me a favor. I've been listening to our episodes, and every time I say the word actually, I need you to kick me under the table.
Okay.
Because I say that so many fucking
Similarly,
times.
every time I say,
Right.
shoot me in the head.
Yeah.
Shoot me in the head with a gun.
It's like, I hate it. I listen to myself, and he's like, actually, you're
like,
gonna keep
saying
really,
it,
Mr. Actually?
and nobody's gonna notice.
Yes,
it's awful.
I'm not calling myself out on my because I know I'm going to keep doing it, and
there's no stopping that train.
Yeah, it's gonna continue. It's just how we talk. Sorry, buddy.
I should just bleep it. So the big
bleeping.
topic that is leading us into Black Cinema Month is favorite movies that we have that audiences or critics generally agree to be industry game changers. I think we're probably going to cover a few films here that we've talked about in the past or even reviewed in the past.
Yeah.
If I may go first.
Okay.
Jaws.
Greedy. Oh, yeah. That's a pretty good one, I guess.
Yeah, that was a movie that kicked off Boat Month last year, but that is a movie that at the time just lit the box office aflame.
It basically invented the summer blockbuster.
Yeah, it was an absolute game changer of it's like a big popcorn horror film. It started the Spielbergism, really, that continued on and that was so immensely successful. The kind of the family
It started
entertainment.
the career of Steven Spielberg.
Yeah, the Spielbergism.
Yeah, you could
It's
just
the same
say it
thing.
started Spielberg's
Wow.
career.
It's the
You
Spielbergism.
psycho.
You don't know the
God.
Spielbergism?
I don't like that. It makes me
Why?
it makes me feel icky.
You don't like the Spielbergism?
I feel like you're gonna ism somewhere I don't want you to.
No.
My soul's left my body.
But yes, Jaws is a fantastic. It's a 5 out of 5 film that absolutely swept everything, and we have a lot of movies that owe themselves and owe credit to that film.
All right. Well, I'll continue with a horror film. This is a movie that I didn't love on my first watch of it, and it has improved for me every subsequent watch, and that is John Carpenter's Halloween. That is a movie that, you can debate whether it really started the slasher genre. Texas Chainsaw came out before, Black Christmas.
It didn't.
But
It didn't start it.
but it popularized it,
It did.
most definitely. It was the first breakout massive hit indie slasher movie, and basically every slasher movie since has in some way riffed on Halloween, and there's a reason for that. It is just such a simple, well constructed, incredibly shot, beautifully scored movie. It's something that I like more every time I see it. I just love how stripped down it is. Halloween.
Nice. Good pick.
I think I have a double pick. So, the first year that they had an animation category at the Oscars was 2001, and
Body.
Oh my
yeah,
god.
and the first movie that ever won a nomination, won in that category was Shrek in 2001,
Yeah,
right?
Shrek,
And there was
Shrek,
kind of
Shrek.
some talk about whether or not it was going to get a Best Picture nomination, but it did not end up getting a Best Picture
Just
nomination.
fucked up. Should have won.
But I think that
Do you know the Muffin Man? The Muffin Man? The Muffin Man! Yes, I know the Muffin Man who lives on Drury Lane.
the Muffy Man.
The Muffy.
The muff. Ooh.
Do you know? Do bow bow.
Muffin Man.
Sorry, you were saying about Shrek, which should have won Best Picture over Gladiator?
Yeah, Shrek is a masterpiece. I think our teacher even covered that in our film class
that's
one
right.
time.
That's
as
right.
a perfect example
Yeah,
of story
I forgot about
structure.
that.
No, wait, can we talk about this?
Yes.
Okay.
Because our film professor, the beloved Susan Bloom,
Yes.
showed Shrek, showed part of Shrek to our film 1 class,
Yeah.
and was like, this isn't a great movie, I don't love it, and our class fucking erupted.
Yeah. That's
right.
Because you're talking to a room full of Shrek kids kids.
We rioted.
We were raised on Shrek. We were molded by it.
I've never seen
We did not see the outside of the swamp until we were a young man.
I've never seen such a collective like head snap.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When she said
What do you mean
Like,
Shrek's
what?
not good?
Wow. Wow, core memory unlocked. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Our humble beginnings, folks. Humble beginnings.
I'm gonna reach across the table and gonna slap you in the teeth. Alexis, please continue.
Oh my god.
Keep
yeah.
going.
I just before so that was a DreamWorks animation studio movie, right? And before that we really only had main players being Disney, and really Pixar was kind of still in its infancy, So what Shrek did was really, because this was before the year before The Incredibles came out, or was Incredibles 2004?
2000, was it? I thought it was 3.
2003?
Either
2004?
way.
Doesn't matter. This is before The Incredibles. And I think that this movie really changed like the shift of the general public that children's movies don't have to just be for children, and giving them more overt adult qualities. To make it kind of more broad for the general public.
Yeah.
A broader appeal, essentially. Yeah. And then, I just want to piggyback off of that. The next year, 2002, Hayao Miyazaki won for Spirited Away. And even though Disney and Studio Ghibli have a very interesting kind of relationship together, where honestly, Disney wasn't really doing a lot of marketing for Ghibli, even though they were the ones who were distributing the movies. Spirited Away managed to get a Best Animation nomination, and I think it was the first foreign movie to win?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was the second year, so yeah.
No, but it was impressive for some other reason. Anyways, doesn't
it's
matter.
good.
Yeah, but I think that
That's impressive.
if you combine Shrek with Spirited Away,
Love to see that.
It's a back-to-back.
That's a double bill.
Shrek just jumping around, just in a big mud bath in the spa.
Spirits are
there
like
are
onions.
mud baths, yeah.
Oh my God, Shrek would love it.
He would.
He has a mud bath in the beginning of the movie, and then that river spirit basically is a mud bath.
Oh, hello there.
Yeah, what if it was Shrek underneath that mud
What are
bath?
you doing there?
That's actually Shrek.
Get me into that bath now.
Yeah, so I think that if you combine the broader appeal of, how Shrek expanded that with Spirited Away, and how I think it made it. God, I hate you guys.
I didn't do anything. What are you doing? Don't hit me.
Shrek can expand me anytime.
Oh my God.
That was low hanging fruit, baby.
Low hanging green fruit.
Now you know how hard it is for me to gather my thoughts.
That's true.
Fuck. Oh.
We're bad guys.
Yeah, you are bad guys. Let's
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away. Spirited Away.
Spirited Away and Shrek.
Okay, so 2002. Then you get the next kind of next jump into how I don't even care. I don't even
Power
care.
through.
No.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Akira. It's like an anime that was an industry game changer.
It was.
That's
yeah.
a valid.
I thought about that
right?
too, but then I got really stuck on Shrek and I forgot about Akira. But
then I got distracted.
Yeah, so it's fine.
I think we all got a little stuck on Shrek here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Should we review Shrek?
Yeah. Of course.
Should we
yeah.
get
Wait, why
Shrek?
didn't we do that for Animation Month?
Listen, Alexis was running the show. Take it up with
I
her.
know that
was
doesn't
tr-
explain it.
That
makes it more confounding.
I was trying something new. I can't just play it safe at all times.
Just go straight to Jack.
You can't just get
You
Shrek.
can't just get Shreked.
You know that when they were when the animators at DreamWorks were working on Shrek, that was such a notorious pain in the ass project that it was considered a punishment
Yeah, it
to be
was.
sent to work on Shrek. And they the animators literally called it getting Shreked
Yeah.
if you were sent
love
to work
that.
on
Get
it.
Shreked, Greg.
Greg
Get Shreked.
Greg got Shreked yesterday.
Wow.
It's really
Wait.
fucked up.
I
Classic.
have another little side story that I've been thinking about today since I was thinking about Spirited Away. But so the first movie that Disney distributed for Studio Ghibli was Princess Mononoke, and Harvey Weinstein, fuck that guy. he was notorious for cutting movies like upon release through Miramax. And so he told them that he wanted to cut it down for the American audience, right? And it's a masterpiece, so why would he do that? And the fucking, I can't remember who, but producer, whoever the fuck, sent a samurai sword to Harvey Weinstein and said, no cuts. Literally said, it just said no cuts and just a samurai sword.
That's fucking
That's
awesome.
weirdly threatening. I like it.
That's so sick.
Yeah,
Fucking
right?
fall on the sword, you fat fuck.
Got him. He's in jail for a long time, and I love that.
Good.
Yeah, I love that for him.
Do we have any other picks?
A phrase I never thought I'd hear about Harvey Weinstein. I love that for him, but it's true. I do love that he's in fucking prison. Yes, I want to talk about. I won't go back to horror. I want to talk about Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho from 1960.
Yeah.
That I think is the movie that Well, I don't know if that's a blanket statement, but I think it's a good candidate to be the one that kind of created the slasher serial killer genre, or at least
It
popularized
also just feels like such a fucking modern movie.
It does.
Like,
Yeah, it really does. It's so contemporary.
That feels like the kind of, not to be hyperbolic, but the breaking point between like the golden age of Hollywood and modern cinema.
Yeah, it not only did it, discuss a topic and explore a topic that we really hadn't seen before, at least not in a major motion picture, but killing off its hero, like, by the end of the first act, fucking unheard of.
Well, also, just like practically, Psycho's the reason we have like showtimes, basically. Originally in like Cineplexes, movies would just kind of run all day. You'd have, your pre-show, and then you would have your movie, and it would just cycle through, and people would come in the middle of movies. And to spoil, or to prevent spoiling the twists of Psycho, Hitchcock had theaters institute a policy of not letting people in after the movie had started. And that became an industry standard. So
That's
in
pretty crazy.
in a practical theater going sense, that movie's a game changer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Crazy. Crazy sauce.
Yeah, kind of, in a way, invented a fucking genre, which, unless we have any other picks, that could segue us into what we're talking about today in terms of inventing a
Let's
genre.
Paul Blart it, guys.
Oh,
All right, we're pulling a Paul Blart.
Peanut, Blart, and jelly. What?
The reason that we're talking today, that we're starting Black Cinema Month with movies that are considered industry game changers, is because our first film that we're reviewing is 1971's Shaft. Directed by Gordon Parks. This movie is about, according to Google, John Shaft, played by Richard Roundtree, is the ultimate in suave black detectives. He first finds himself up against Bumpy, Moses Gunn, the leader of the black crime mob, then against black nationals, and finally working with both against the white mafia who are trying to blackmail Bumpy by kidnapping his daughter. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that adds up. And
Yeah.
that's I would say that's a good description.
I see. With work. Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
that's
I
a
get
good
that.
description of what happens in Shaft.
They watch Shaft. Good for you, Google.
Yeah.
Well
good
done.
It's
job.
only an hour and 40. You'd think they'd try.
Yeah. But sometimes we're surprised.
They
Yeah.
really are.
So, I don't know about you. I had never seen this movie before.
Nor had I.
Nor had I.
Nor had I. But you're so Australian now.
Nor
It's crazy.
Nor.
Well,
shouts out to one of our most listening countries. How you doing, Australia?
It's because of me.
Yeah, it's because of Alexis. I heard Nor.
so what did we think of Shaft? Because this is a movie that I have long had on my watch list. I've always wanted to see it.
Same.
I've listened to the Shaft theme since I was a kid.
It's so good.
Because my mom and dad are huge Isaac Hayes fans, so they would have that on in the house. So I know the fucking theme song like the back of my hand. I had just never seen the movie.
Who's the black private dick who's a sex machine with all the chicks?
I don't think this was ever on my radar, but
Okay.
I think I heard a stand-up special one time by a black comedian where he was making jokes and referencing Shaft.
Was it the Donald Glover one?
Maybe it was.
Where he talks about Michael Cera playing Shaft?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so there's a Donald Glover bit. That's
Fuck yes.
I also watched this where he's talking about how there was the online campaign for him to play Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, half of the internet was like, Donald Glover should play Spider-Man. I'll only watch the new Spider-Man if Donald Glover plays him. And the other half was like, he's black, kill him. So he was like, I didn't engage with any of the comments except for one that was like, oh, we're just going to have Donald Glover play Spider-Man. Donald Glover's just going to play Spider-Man. Well, why don't we have Michael Cera play Shaft? And I responded to that one with, first of all, yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Okay.
Hey guys,
That's
how's
funny.
it going?
Holy
Just
shit.
smacking some hoes.
Wow.
So, like, yeah, that was also my introduction to the film Shaft.
Really? Okay, yeah. I remember that in particular, and I always thought, Shaft. That's important. That's an important movie, I think.
So now you have the context.
Now I
to
have
that
the
joke,
context, and
which
it's
makes it
much
funnier.
funnier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No, there were definitely a couple of times when I was watching this movie where I just like in my
Yeah.
head was picturing
Wow.
certain scenes with Michael Cera
Good guy.
and like having a little chuckle to
I
myself.
genuinely really liked this film.
Did you?
I did actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it. What did you like?
Oh, during one of the sex scenes, they were doing this thing where they made it kind of artsy and did some like circle. There, it was like double exposure or
Yes,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it was groovy.
I think I
We're gonna get
literally
70s vernacular in here.
and as well we should.
That he was a cool cat, man.
Oh my god, I loved that.
I know.
Was like,
I have it in my
yes.
review. We need to start calling cool people cats again because
Yeah.
that's tight.
No, I literally, in my notes on this movie, I'm pretty sure I wrote down, why are the sex scenes like the most creatively shot parts of this movie?
I know. I was expecting the sex. Well, because you guys, I think I read something where about the sex scenes, and I was like, interesting. I thought it would be like more graphic. But it was actually very tastefully done, I feel. And honestly, like, that guy has the juice. Like, he's got
Richard
so
Roundtree?
much juice.
Yeah.
He clearly has so much juice because he is fucking bitches left and right. Like, what the fuck?
Alexis, it's like you're reading my notes. I'm pretty... Yeah. This is a note that I wrote after that white girl fuck Shaft. I wrote... Every single woman in the world wants to fuck John Shaft, which I guess makes sense when every other man in the world looks like an overcooked plate of spaghetti.
Yeah.
This was the big
Damn.
thing that I noticed while watching this movie, because I fucking love movies that are shot in New York in the 1970s.
Same.
On film, too.
Oh, yeah.
With
I
the
mean,
lights at night.
looks
so
fucking great.
incredible.
It was like
And
a time capsule.
These a lot of these films, such as The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3, which I watched for the first time last
Good
year, which
movie.
I fucking love.
Good movie.
I've never seen the original.
It's so good, and it is
Yeah.
maybe the
Walter Matthau.
it is the text of When Men Were Men and Men Were Ugly films.
Yes.
Not a single handsome man on screen. Just faces like
Pelham 1, 2, 3.
goddamn
Calling Pelham 1, 2, 3.
faces like a scuffed shoe left and right.
That is flat. You're describing Walter Matthau, too.
Yeah. But that's why Shaft is so funny to me, because Richard Roundtree
He's a good-looking dude.
so fucking handsome, and so smooth. Like I think he's 28. Yes, Alexis, I did spit as I said that. Moved
That
past
really
it.
had some
That
volume.
was pulpy.
Ooh, yeah.
Good gross.
But like he's like just this handsome, well moisturized. Like I think he was 28 at the time.
I'm so
I don't
sorry.
like.
Who are
Okay.
you talking
Okay.
about?
No,
I
in
can't
Zach,
take
you
this
can't
conversation.
spit on another co-host while talking about how well moisturized the main
You
character is.
moisturized me.
I'm illustrating my point.
It's
Great.
disgusting.
I'm happy to be figure 1A.
But yeah, every other man in comparison is just like so
Not as
weathered,
wet.
so fucking
Not
weathered.
as moist.
They're not as wet. Thank you, Mick. You've made my point so succinctly.
Of course.
Yeah.
Made a
so
slick point.
Okay. I'm going to stop whatever that was, and I'm going to
I'll come back to it.
I want to say not only is he very attractive, but he is not okay. He's not just a private eye and a hero of the black community in New York City, but he also moonlights as an icon of fashion.
Yes, that
my
coat
God.
His coats,
with
plural.
the fucking turtleneck.
Amazing.
Yes,
every coat,
it's
every
like
jacket.
beige camel turtleneck with like
Insane.
a brown red leather coat. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Honestly, the costume design in this is really good because he stands out in a crowd because of his fucking coats.
Yeah.
Like you could just see a silhouette of Shaft and
Yeah.
you know that's the
Shaft.
fucking man right there.
Yeah, I read something that was like part of the reason that Shaft is such a revolutionary movie is that it essentially depicts cinema's first black superhero.
Yeah.
And I think that's true. Shaft is very iconic. Like
He has a theme song.
Yeah, he has a theme song.
Yeah.
He has a distinctive look. He has like a costume. I think I might be a little bit the odd man out on Shaft.
Oh, you didn't really love it?
I didn't love it. I was kind of bored.
Really?
To me, I think this movie gets by into being something that I mostly enjoyed
Right.
because it has great vibes and
Yeah.
a killer lead performance.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the story, it feels kind of lackadaisical. It feels kind of ambling.
I will agree the pacing in like the first two acts
I
aren't
find
tight.
it, yeah, I find it to be a pretty poorly paced movie for a story that has like pretty high stakes.
I was just there for the vibes.
Yeah. Listen, they are great vibes.
immaculate.
I do not begrudge anyone who loves this film.
And considering he's fucking hella women, like he seems a little misogynistic, but I was like, I'm kind of here for it.
Hot
You
takes,
heard
get your
it
hot takes
here
first. Sexy hot, drizzled in sugar.
Oh my god.
Drizzled in Shaft.
Whenever we do like
Good God.
whenever we do like a women directors month, that's gonna be our
You're worse in
that's
person.
gonna be our
Zoom must filter you some ways because you're here in person.
Oh
Good
yeah,
God.
I think it's harder for me to respond. Maybe the little bit of
the little bit of
lag.
the lag.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
little bit of the lag.
Yeah.
The lag is a drag.
I'm quicker in person.
Yeah.
and more Italian.
But manjo.
Covered in the shaft.
Listen, this is a film that understands that you know what the real threat to
Italian Americans?
Yeah, you know what the real threat to the community is Italians. I don't know. I think that like this movie definitely like precedes the sort of Shane Black renaissance of like buddy cop movies that are like essentially modernized pulp noir movies that like become action movies. This feels like a precursor to that.
Okay.
Because like Shaft is based on a pulp novel.
Yes.
But I think that the thing that those Shane Black movies have that I really respond to is like really sharp dialogue, great pacing, and like complicated plots that like behoove kind of a mystery cop story. Mm-hmm. And for me, I guess the conflict in this just feels sort of preordained. Like I can see where this movie is going, and there aren't a lot of complications in how it gets there, I guess.
I don't know if I agree with that.
I loved the bar scene.
The bar scene is really good.
The bar scene's really good.
How he just has this rapport with the gay bartender. He's like, "Hey man, let me
Yeah,
back there."
that was cool.
Yeah.
That was actually
I
really
was
cool.
like,
made note of
"Hey,
that as well.
what's up, Shaft?
Yeah.
You can be my friend, maybe."
That was weirdly ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Actually.
Oh yeah.
This Shaft, this super machismo masculine private eye in this genre of movie is just kind of fucking pals with a gay bartender.
Yeah, okay, the fucking
It's cool.
The bartender comes over, right? And he's like, "Hey, that brunette with the beautiful
With the
boobies,
groovy boobs.
with the
groovy
groovy
boobies. Groovy boobies.
the
Oh my
groovy
God.
boobies, thinks you're like really attractive, right?
Yeah.
And I guess also her friend is into him, right? And he's told her, "Hey, I mean, I'm gay," and she told him, don't worry, I'll straighten you out. And I was like, oh.
And
Wow.
then he said something like, obviously, like, she doesn't know me very well, or something like that, because there's no straightening this out. And then Shaft just kind of like laughs at him and like goes back to his like job.
Yeah.
I loved that. That was super cool.
Yeah, that is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Yeah. Super cool. And it's fucking smashing that guy over the head with a bottle. See, I didn't catch it at first. I was a little nervous about this movie because in the opening intro, which, by the way, intro is fantastic. The beautiful shots of the city where the camera's up on top of a building and you're seeing it and you just get this, he's jaywalking and damn near gets hit by 2 or 3 taxi cabs. It's kind of frightening.
Yeah,
but
because those are just fucking New York taxi cabs.
Yeah, this reminds me.
Not planned.
This reminds me a lot of Mean Streets, the Scorsese film, or Scorsese, excuse me, where it just seems like they fucking, and it did. They just put a camera out on the sidewalk and put their actors in there, and I'm guessing most of the people are not extras. They're probably just New Yorkers, and it's cool to see the grime and everything. But yeah, it was. I was going somewhere with that, but I completely
I feel like
lost
that's pretty
it.
typical of that time because, like, Midnight Cowboy in 1969 kind of did the same thing, where you have like John Voight and why am I blanking on this? Dustin Hoffman walking through the streets of New York, and they're all just people.
I'm walking here.
Yeah, definitely. But I do want to give a bit of a retort to you, Zach, that nothing of. You didn't say this, but would you agree that you're kind of saying that nothing of real consequence kind of happens during like the middle act? Because I thought the Ben Buford bit where his gang gets massacred.
Yeah, again, there are
he
good
gets shot.
scenes in this movie. I think my issue fundamentally just comes down to pace.
Okay.
It just feels like we spend a lot of time with not the main story, which goes a long way to cultivating a vibe, which is great. But I think that just the nature of the story, I guess, makes me want something a little more propulsive.
I think I kind of didn't care because I was like, oh, so this makes me understand the iconography of Shaft.
Right.
And
he's such a cool dude, he goes at his own pace.
No, I get that.
Well, I guess I think that's just why I didn't mind it, because I was just like, oh yeah, no, I mean, it's just Shaft.
Yeah. You can't ruffle his feathers. Like, oh, your daughter's kidnapped? Yeah, I'm not getting to it.
Oh, you know
I'm gonna go get a drink first.
You know what's another reference that made more sense to me?
Huh.
Okay.
Have you guys ever seen the Key and Peele Shakespeare sketch? I think I showed it to you, Mick.
Did you?
It's 2 black guys in like the Shakespearean time, the not Elizabethan era, the Victorian era. No, okay. Elizabethan.
Okay.
So they're going to see Othello.
Okay.
And they walk out after Act 1 and they're hyping up Othello. They're loving how there's just this powerful black guy.
Yeah.
And they get out after Act 2 of Othello and they're like, fuck that.
Yeah.
And they corner Shakespeare and have him write another play, which is Shaft, with an E at the end. Yes.
That's funny.
And they walk out after watching his new play, Shaft, and Jordan Peele's character goes, "That John Shaft is one bad mother." And then, and then Keegan-Michael Key goes, "Be still thy mouth." And then Jordan Peele goes, "I'm merely speaking about Shaft," which I didn't realize until now is the Shaft theme song.
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
another thing that I have grown to appreciate more now having seen Shaft.
Yay.
I mean, I guess that does speak to just how that kind of proves the point that this movie was a game changer. Like, it's in so much of the zeitgeist of this classic 70s cinema, and it's astounding that I've never seen it until this episode.
Well, and it kind of defined the cinematic image of a cool black man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the energy of Shaft you can see in a dozen different film characters over the years.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, I know that Samuel L. Jackson did end up playing him, but Samuel L. Jackson's literally personification of fucking Shaft.
Yeah, Richard Roundtree walked so that Samuel Jackson could run.
Exactly.
It's I agree with that. But yeah, let's talk about how it basically kicked off the blaxploitation movement. Now, Zach, you watched a movie today.
Yes, I did.
What was it?
I watched Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song.
Why did you watch it?
Because Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, written, directed by, and starring Melvin Van Peebles, is kind of considered to be the start of the blaxploitation genre, along with Shaft.
Because Shaft came out like
a few months later in 1971.
very close.
Yes. Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song is another movie that shares some commonalities with Shaft. It's why these two movies kind of defined the genre going forward, because they're both like violent, erotic movies with a funk soundtrack and a like powerful, charismatic black lead. I personally preferred Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song a little more. I guess primarily because of the story. It's about a black male prostitute who beats two cops into unconsciousness when they're essentially attacking a leader of a Black Power movement. And then the rest of the movie is him going on the run. And I don't know, I think that movie is a little more politically minded than Shaft, which makes sense because that one was basically entirely independently financed, and Shaft received some Hollywood funding.
It's an MGM picture.
Yeah, it can't be as radical because it's made within the studio machine.
And it wouldn't be because of the director, which we'll get into.
Gordon Parks, yeah. Who, okay, this is my other thing about Gordon Parks. When I was, doing my negligible amount of research,
You know what? At least you did some.
I was doing a little.
Yeah.
I was looking at the fucking Wikipedia entry on blaxploitation and noticed that Gordon Parks also directed They Call Me Mr. Tibbs, which is the sequel to In the Heat of the Night, which is a Sidney Poitier movie.
The slap heard around the world.
Yes. And that movie is like noted as kind of a precursor to the blaxploitation genre because it's a black director and a black star. But yeah, these two movies really set the like aesthetic of blaxploitation, which carried forward into other movies.
Yeah, really quickly though, I have to give a shout out to Norman Jewison, who directed In Heat of the Night, who just recently passed away, which is really sad.
Oh,
Also, shout out to Richard Roundtree, who passed last year.
That's true.
Yeah,
but that's
fucking
really sad.
Icon. He's I rewatched Seven recently.
That's right. He's in that. He
Yeah,
plays
just like
one
a
of the
fucking stacked cast. Yeah, he shows up.
commissioner or something?
I think the mayor.
The mayor. Okay.
Yeah, he like pops up for two
Yeah.
scenes. That's like, holy shit, that's fucking Shaft.
I remember him in.
shit.
I think he's in Contact too. He plays like a politician or something. I think.
Yeah, I again probably should have had a bigger career than
Yeah.
he did, but I'm very happy that Richard Roundtree was like a staple of essentially Hollywood film going forward from Shaft. You want to add a little gravitas to your movie?
Yeah.
Fucking slot in Richard Roundtree.
Yeah, he is really, really great. And the character is really, really great and really important. So while I would agree, I do agree with you, Zach. I think the first two acts were a little, you said meandering a bit. I would agree with that. And I think I didn't really realize it until the third act, which is when it really picked up, when they basically perform a siege on the Italian-American mafia to get the girl. That was great.
They perform a Grabagool.
It's so cool with, I love the...
Nothing on Grabagool?
I gotta skip over it, but I'm sorry. But I loved the powerful irony of these Black Power gang members using fire hoses on white people.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great image.
That was powerful imagery. But I want to go into that a little bit. So I would like to talk about the director, Gordon Parks. So he has a fascinating career. He was a journalist. He started off as a journalist. He was also a musician, but he was like one of the first like prominent journalists for Life magazine. He was like one of the first black prominent artists like that. And he famously did a photo shoot with the Tuskegee Airmen before they did their official first mission during World War II. And then he had an interaction where he was documenting the civil rights movement, and he was covering a lot of the Black Panthers. And he kind of had, it's my understanding, obviously he was for the cause, the director, Gordon Parks, but he had a bit of an ideology difference with the Black Panthers, because at one point, I'm probably going to misquote it, but he was interviewing a Panther who had a revolver on his belt or on his lap, and he was talking about how what they're doing is really going to change for the Black community. And Gordon Parks retorted, saying that I think I have a better chance of changing things for our people because I have a 35 millimeter lens. You have a 9 millimeter hollow point. Like, the power of journalism, the power of cinema. I forget, he attributed a specific film. I wish I could remember what it was, but he watched it in a dark theater and realized, holy shit, this could be a weapon of our people. The power, basically what that famous really racist movie,
Birth of a Nation
did, you could do the opposite for the Black community, which is why he decided that I'm going to have a camera. I want to direct a film. I want to do that eventually. And I think he directed, his first movie was The Learning Tree, I think. Mm-hmm. Came out in 1968. So Shaft is his second film. It's his sophomore outing.
No, it's his third film.
Is it?
Because They Call Me Mr. Tibbs came out before Shaft.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, 1970, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well, regardless, this movie was a really, really big deal for him because I remember at one point MGM said that we want you to direct, but let's change everyone in the novel to white people. And Gordon Parks said, absolutely not. This needs to be for our community. So it's going to be just like the book, all going to be Black people. And they said, okay, well then let's shoot it in LA. Let's have it set in LA so that we can at least just save money doing it there. And then he threatened to walk, saying, no, this needs to be in New York. Otherwise, I'm gone. And weirdly, MGM blinked and said, fine. They didn't want to lose him because he had already invested so much vision into it, I guess. And so they kept him on. This movie was made for roughly $500,000, which is adjusted for inflation like $5 million today. And at the box office, made $13 million, which is like $98 million today. It was a resounding hit. So it was the reason we're talking about Shaft is because it was a big, important moment in cinema because it was a movie by Black people for Black people that absolutely raked in the cash. And did it get a lot of white people to the theater? No, it did not. It was mostly Black people. But it showed the studios, holy shit, like if we make movies that are specific for that community, it's going to make a lot of money.
And this came at kind of an important time in Hollywood because, 1971, you're at the beginning of essentially the American New Wave where you're coming up with your Scorseses, your Coppolas, your De Palmas, guys who were making movies outside of the Hollywood system that were, essentially becoming more successful than Hollywood films. Mm-hmm. And there were also a lot of like big budget Hollywood bombs that were happening at the same time. Yeah. So
the old roadshow movies were failing.
The notion of, okay, we need to make lower budget movies for a more niche audience was more popular. Also, it helped. Another thing that played into that was white flight from the like urban areas in America, because you no longer really had that white audience as much going to theaters in cities. Right. So it was financially viable to make movies that catered more to a Black audience. So that also played into that, which I think is interesting. And also, maybe something that Hollywood could learn from, that you can make lower budget movies.
Relearn it.
That, cater to a more niche audience who will definitely show up.
Because they learned it again in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then they
forgot
lost it.
Again.
It's
a cycle.
But yeah, and it basically single-handedly created the blaxploitation genre. I hesitated there because of what you talked about. The movie
Sweetback.
Exactly. Which is blaxploitation. But, I mean, this absolutely created a genre, which is really cool. Not a lot of movies can say that they did that. Not a lot of directors can say they did that. And also, you talked about Mr. Tibbs. So again, In the Heat of the Night is a movie about the black experience, but it's from the white perspective a little bit. It's directed by a white person.
They Call Me Mr. Tibbs isn't.
I'm talking about In the Heat of the Night.
Yeah.
And Sidney Poitier, who I love, and I think was the second person of color to win an Academy Award.
Yeah, I think you're right.
He made inroads in being to be a leading man, a black leading man. But the problem is that the characters that he played were more or less nerfed a little bit. At the end of the day, he kind of towed the line. Shaft, on the other hand, does not toe the line. He is his own man, his own agenda. He's not there to really help the white man.
And he knows how to navigate a white and black space.
Yes. In different classes.
Yes, he can operate equally effectively.
Yeah.
In interacting with the black mob.
Yes.
And interacting with the white police force.
Yeah, I read an article from Criterion that talked about that, of how important it was for representation to have a leading black man who could walk into the rich white neighborhoods and no one would think twice, and then walk into the projects and no one would think twice.
Yep.
He just fucking fits. He's
a cool cat.
He's a cool cat.
One of the coolest.
And then also something else that, again, not to disparage Sidney Poitier, because he would have taken more complex, juicier roles had they ever been allowed to give it to him. But he was also pretty asexual. He played asexual characters. His characters he played, yes, he would be in a relationship
Sidney
with a white
Poitier
woman.
Didn't fuck.
Right. He would be in a relationship with a white woman, look who's coming to dinner.
Isolate that.
But Shaft was a big deal because of what Alexis said, which is this showed a black man getting laid with a white woman, and she fucking couldn't get enough of it, right? And that was a big deal that people had not actually seen that before. We take that for granted now, but it was big.
You know what this makes me think about? It makes me think about the really big surgence of all black led shows and sitcoms in the 80s and early 90s. And of course those all got pushed out by the completely white led teen dramas of the later 90s and early 2000s. But if you think about it, I mean, if Shaft is, kind of in a semi-direct line of blaxploitation, it is also in a semi-direct line of getting all those TV shows onto even the creation of an all-black channel, BET, Black Entertainment Television.
Yeah.
All branches possibly. All shafts lead back to Shaft.
That's true. That's actually a good point. Yeah, it is crazy how much you could argue traces itself back to this one film, this one movement. And, also something else going back to the sexuality of the film, something I didn't know, but just to put into perspective, listeners, for how big a deal it was to see Shaft being a sexual person, just a person that has sexuality, a sex life, was a big deal because just 5 years prior to the release of this film, the Supreme Court case Loving versus Virginia was brought through the Supreme Court, and it lifted prohibition of miscegenation, which is
same-sex relationships, right?
No, it's
interracial.
Interracial
Why did I say same-sex?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I was a little confused.
It would be cool. It would be cool if that happened earlier.
That was basically legalized, which is fucked up. But anyways, legalized by the American government just 5 years before this movie ever came out. which is just, it puts into perspective the times
Yeah.
of when that was. And then also one last thing I'd like to throw in there is we talked about how Sidney Poitier was the second person to win an Academy Award for a black person. Do you know who the third was?
Was it Isaac Hayes?
It was Isaac Hayes.
A fucking
for
well-deserved
original music for Shaft.
Let me tell you,
Incredible work.
I was driving Uber Eats earlier today, just jamming to the Shaft theme,
Yeah.
having a fucking grand old time.
Yeah, that, I think, don't quote me on this, but I think I read someplace that this was like the first movie where a piece of music that was written specifically for a film ended up being in like the top 10 charts of just albums and songs that released that year.
I'd buy that.
Like
It's
that
funky as hell.
That hadn't ever happened before. So this was another first that this movie can put a stamp on, which is pretty crazy. Again, these are all things that we take for granted now, but at one point someone had to do it first.
It was the I'm Just Ken of its year.
That's right. Jesus.
I'm thinking
I hate
about
that
it.
that's right.
Yeah.
I hate that that's technically correct. The best kind of correct.
So, one thing I'd like to come back to is Gordon Parks's notion that I can make more of an impact with my camera.
Yes, because that plays into the movie too. Because Shaft kind of sticks his nose up at the quote unquote black radicals in this film.
Yeah, so that
let's get into it.
interestingly kind of falls into line with something that was an intentional policy of, I think it was the Johnson administration.
Okay.
There was a point made, there was a memo, I don't remember who it came from, but it was a memo that was essentially like, in order to avoid a actual like violent revolution stemming from the conflict during the civil rights movement, there are strategic concessions that the American government needs to make. And one of those things was, essentially, we're not going to make economic concessions or policy concessions, really, but we will make concessions in the public cultural sphere. So the notion of we're going to allow for more positive media depictions of black people is kind of a strategic move on the part of the American government to, give the appearance of progress while not actually addressing
tangible.
the material conditions of black people. So, obviously not my place to say, but I don't agree with Gordon Parks. I don't think he was right that he can make more of an impact with his camera, because if there's one thing capitalism is very good at, it's subsuming images and art that are anti-capitalist and commodifying them. Think about how many Che Guevara t-shirts you've seen.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
real.
Capitalism does not care if you are anti-capitalist so long as you are not actually affecting their bottom line.
Yeah.
So they would
Which
love
is
to
exactly what the Black Panthers did, because they provided for their own communities.
Yeah, that's why so many black radical leaders ended up dead.
Yeah, I mean that. Go ahead.
And why Gordon Parks was allowed to do what he was doing. So I don't really agree with that notion that he could make more of a difference, because I don't think he did.
It is interesting to hear the references to the Young Lords and the other different gangs in that area and stuff, since that was something that we learned about in our what class was that?
That was ethnic
Film-
resistance course.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
There was definitely a film history class we also took that was, I think, focused on, we either watched or watched part of Agnes Varda's
Yes.
documentary on the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't know if I was in that class or not.
But no, I mean, Zach, I think I kind of agree with you a little bit. I get what Gordon is saying, but after going to university and learning that the narrative that I was spoon-fed by the public educational system about the Black Panthers having been a really unsuccessful movement because they were violent is complete manipulation of the actual narrative. Because when you actually learned about it,
super successful, and the government took them out with violence.
Exactly. It was J. Edgar Hoover, who's in charge of the FBI, who went to President Lyndon B. Johnson during the Vietnam War and said, "You're sending too many troops. You're sending too many National Guards Reserve to Vietnam because the true threat to the United States, the true threat to our state of being as a country is not in the jungles of Vietnam. It's in the streets of Detroit." He said that. He said that the Black rights movement is a bigger threat to our national security than Vietnam was.
Literally, there's a pivot from fascism to communism to domestic terrorism, right? And that's just been kind of the through line.
Yeah.
Just pivot.
Politically speaking, the lines in the film of Shaft where I think it's the character that he saves.
Benjamin Buford?
Yeah, Ben Buford.
Yeah.
Where he's being held up in like that safe house, which is like just a friend of an apartment. She's really straight, don't do anything too crazy that might scare her or whatever. And he's sitting there and he kind of looks up at Shaft and goes, "By the way, like, don't you think for a second that I'm going to owe you for this?" Mm-hmm. And what does Shaft respond with? "There ain't nothing you have that I want."
Yeah.
Now remember that Ben Buford, he's basically like a black radical in this film. They don't call him Black Panther. They don't use that term in this film.
But he is a black radical.
He's a black radical. And so Shaft is, you could read it, is basically saying that you and your movement, I'm not interested in any of that shit.
That is the sense that I get from Shaft.
Yeah, which is, to me, as someone who is a big Black Panther supporter of their movement, what it was actually doing, what it was for, I am a little alienated by that perspective.
I'm definitely alienated by it, but I understand it in the context of his character and the way that he slips in and out of between the different worlds, because you have to toe the line in order to do that.
That's true. And not only that, too, you're raising a good point. Something else that the character of Shaft does is he picks and chooses with the white police. Like, he'll help, but he'll decide not to. In fact, he'll use the white police to help rescue that girl. Like when the two Italian mafiosos are in the bar, and he calls the police and is like, "Hey, they're here, or whatever. Come and get him." He bashes a bottle over his head, and then these two white cops like rush in and arrest these two white guys after this black man just smashed a bottle over him and he's bleeding, and the white cop goes, "Hey, throw me a towel." And I like that moment where Shaft is using the white police force at the end of the day to attain a goal, which is helping the black community. I think that's cool. And I think plays into the whole black superhero thing. But yeah, I just think that because he kind of had that perspective on black radicals, it does feed into the film in an interesting sort of way.
Yeah.
He's mad classy in some ways too. Did you see his apartment?
Yeah, that's a nice ass apartment. The vinyls and the books.
Yeah, I'm like, I know.
I think I said the same thing. I just went, I want that apartment. Ooh, I want that apartment.
Yeah.
Really I could visit.
Oh, all right. Are you telling me you could get shafted?
I'm neither here nor there. Can neither confirm nor deny.
Shaft. Yeah, I noted that the 70s ass couch that he is on at one point has like the kind of furry throw blanket over it. Mm-hmm. This movie does have great production design. Like
it does.
The spaces they shoot in are
the color of the carpets in the hotel at the end.
Yeah, the red walls in the
really
hotel.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, I didn't know this, but I thought this was super fucking cool. But so you have what we thought might have been the bad guy, Bumpy Jonas, who's played by Moses Gunn, who's, by the way, he has a great voice. Love his voice. So cool. Sounds like a Bond villain or something. Bumpy Jonas has a he has a bodyguard, and his name is Willie. And he kind of has like a wheezy voice, the character of Willie, who him and Shaft don't really get along. And at one point, he wants to give Shaft like a pat down to make sure that he gives his weapon away before he goes in and talks to Moses Gunn. Yeah. And he's like, no, you can't go in there. You cannot go in there unless you give me your piece. And he's like, all right, then you fucking leave. And then the other guy's like, hey, if he finds out the fucking Shaft was here and you didn't let him in, even though there's a meeting, just because he wouldn't give his gun away, you're going to be in hot water. Yeah. And then he goes up to Shaft and he goes, one of these days, you and I, we're going to go at it, right? I found out that the guy who plays Willie, his name is Drew Bundini Brown, was the corner man and assistant coach of Muhammad Ali.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
You look up pictures of all these famous fights with Muhammad Ali, and there is Willie there massaging him and shit.
That's sick as fuck.
Yeah, he's a boxing coach for fucking Muhammad Ali.
That's
it's
so
insane.
cool.
So I thought that was like cool ass casting, which also you rewatch the movie and you see just how fucking tough Willie is. I'm like, that's because he's a real tough motherfucker. I love it.
Are we ready to wrap the Shaft?
We're going to wrap the Shaft.
Have you been thinking about that all episode?
I actually haven't. It came to me right now, and that's what I'm saying. I'm quick.
It came to me in a vision.
It did come to me.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say about Shaft. I like how we gave Richard Roundtree our one good lavalier on this shoot.
For real, it was like the sound quality was going in and out.
That's a good. I didn't know what you meant for a second, but you're so right.
He is the only person who has a good mic on this movie.
Yeah, we got one. Who are we gonna give it to?
That was the weird thing watching Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song, an independently financed movie, is that it generally had way better production quality. Mm-hmm. And like looking a little bit at the production of that movie, that was a much more run and gun shoot than I think Shaft was. Like there was a point where they lit a car on fire and they tried to get permits, and I think their permits got pulled at the last minute, and they lit the car on fire anyway, and you can hear like fire trucks showing up, which is not like an added sound. The fire trucks are showing up because they did not anticipate a fire.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I'm kind of surprised that like particularly the sound is so much clearer in that movie.
But no, I noticed that too when I was first watching the movie. It was a conversation between him and the white detective, and audio was not good, and then Shaft speaks and it's good.
Yeah.
And then it's not good.
We gave him our one good mic.
I thought for a second that it was like they were using just everything they got on the street, but then Shaft was just all ADR.
That also might be it, because I don't know what the wireless mic situation was in 1971.
I don't know.
But yeah, that's my one little technical detail.
One more thing I'll throw out. I feel like it would behoove us. I know it's a film from the 70s, but man, the women characters, fucking paper cutouts.
Yeah, that's the same in Sweet Sweetback.
It's like, it's just, you gotta say.
They want to do one thing, and it's fuck John Shaft.
Now, that is good motivation. You see Shaft, you're like, you know what? That's fair.
It's understandable. I
believe
can relate.
it. I do believe it. I buy it. But it's like that. Clearly, the whole machismo of the '70s was thick.
Truly.
But yeah, that was. I had a really good time watching Shaft. I don't know if I loved it, but I did really, really enjoy it.
I'm glad I saw it. I liked it.
Yeah, I got pleasantly shafted.
Nice.
Good.
Jesus. Nothing but innuendos.
Alexis, you had a recommendation for next week.
I did.
Throw it out there.
Yeah, where are we going?
We're hip hop hopping. Didn't nail it.
No.
We're the white guys on this podcast.
Cut.
We're hippity hopping on down. We're gonna shake and shimmy over to the next film.
That was like Leslie Knope.
That was like a Richard Pryor character.
Wow.
Good lord.
Wow. All right.
Where are we hippity hopping over to, Alexis?
Take two.
So we're shifting from Harlem to Central LA.
Good. Smooth transition. Buttery.
Okay, the next time you criticize me for being too white, I'm going to remember that moment.
Yeah, but I do it ironically, Nick. It
That
just
was
comes
cool.
to you
Yeah,
naturally.
that was planned.
was?
That was planned. That was intentional.
All part of a plan.
God. Where are we going,
Yeah,
Alexis?
where are we going?
So we are going 20 years into the future to 1991's Boys in the Hood, directed by John Singleton, who is, I believe, the first black director to be nominated for Best Director at the Academy.
Also still the youngest person ever to be nominated for Best Director. He was
No shit.
24 fucking years old when he was
Wow.
nominated, which
Okay.
means he directed that movie when he was 23.
So he beat Orson Welles then.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Yeah, fuck that
Orson
guy.
Welles.
Yeah,
Fuck you, Orson.
I grew up watching this movie a few times in my childhood. My sister Natalie really liked it. I mean, it came out in the '90s, so of course,
This
she would
is
like it.
Chris Tucker and Ice.
No.
Who's in
No,
this?
Chris Tucker. It's Ice Cube.
Yeah. And
It is Lawrence Fishburne, Morris Chestnut, and oh my God, Cuba Gooding Jr.
Oh, okay.
Nia Long.
Cool. I've never seen this,
Regina King.
and I'm really excited to.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see this movie too.
Anybody who actually does live in LA, I do believe that they have an exhibit at the Academy Museum currently right now that is of Boys in the Hood and the cultural impact it had. So I'm not able to see it while I'm here in town, but I will be seeing it hopefully the next time I am in town. But if you have the opportunity to, please go check that out.
Yeah,
Cool.
It's a great exhibit. I'm very excited to see this
I
movie.
need to see that. And by the way, I said Chris Tucker not because I'm problematic, but because I was thinking of Friday.
All right.
Oh.
Well,
That is with Ice Cube and Chris Tucker. I
There
thought
we go.
for a
It is Ice
second
Cube.
I thought that's what this movie was.
I
but
also haven't seen Friday.
either I might have to
but
watch
yeah.
You've
it.
never seen Friday?
No.
Oh my god,
It
that
looks
was
great.
that was like a rewatch movie for my sister for sure.
It's so fucking
they
memed
thought
out.
that shit was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to make more of a point this month to beyond our films we're covering.
Oh, I definitely am.
Just
I really,
fill in some blanks from famous black American directors.
Same.
I really want to see if Beale Street could talk.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Fuck.
if you want to see Boys in the Hood, you're in luck because it's on Netflix.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yay.
check it out. And if you
Nice.
want to find us, the Film Majors, on social media, you can find us at Film Majors Pod on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, and TikTok. And if you want to shoot us an email, you can email us at filmmagerspod@gmail.com. And with that, we're going to leave you.
Bye.
Close the door yourself, shitty.
Wow.